...224... das, was ich über Hip-Hop sagen wollte, wollte ich eigentlich alles in eine Folge sagen, aber ich vergesse es immer wieder. Genauso wie, dass ich weiß, wer auf den zweiten und dritten Reihen ist. Also wir haben das Dreieck mit der Nummer 1, Tupac Shakur. Und jetzt, in der letzten Spätschau habe ich gesagt, dass ich nicht weiß, wer die Nummer 2 ist, aber das weiß ich. Ich habe es nur vergessen gehabt. Nämlich die Nummer 2 ist... Wer ist die Nummer 2? Es ist Jermaine Dupri. Und neben ihm Noriega. Dann kommen die üblichen Verdächtigen Jay-Z, Nas und The Notorious Biggie. Und in der nächsten Reihe sind 4 Leute. Und das sind... Ja Rule, 50 Cent, LL Cool J und DMX. Und dann kommen... Also man könnte auch eine andere machen, in der Nummer 2 Snoop Dogg und anstatt Noriega Dr. Dre sind. Und in der Formation ist auch Eminem irgendwo. Aber das ist nicht meine. Die könnte man stehen lassen, aber es ist nicht meine, weil ich ja gerade finde, dass Hip-Hop eben das ist, dass man sich so ein bisschen abgrenzt von dem, was the easy way quasi. Das ist wie beim Pizza machen. Es gibt 3 Möglichkeiten, Pizza zu essen. Das erste ist eine Tiefkühlpizza, das zweite ist Pizza bestellen und das dritte ist Pizza selber machen. Was das Beste ist, ist von Mensch zu Mensch verschieden, aber ich bin halt einer, der auf Platz 2 Jermaine Dupri und Noriega sieht. Man könnte auch, das wär auch okay, ne? Könnte man auch Snoop Dogg und Dre oder ja, gibt es bestimmt auch noch irgendwelche anderen, aber für mich ist es Jermaine Dupri und Noriega und wie gesagt, dann Ja Rule, 50 Cent in der 4. Reihe, ja. Ja Rule, 50 Cent, LL Cool J und DMX und dann kommen so Herren wie Fat Joe, dann würde ich vielleicht Snoop Dogg, auch wenn ich den genauso wie Eminem am liebsten ganz raustun würde, weil das ist zu sehr Comedy. Dann würde ich Dr. Dre machen, anstatt Snoop Dogg vielleicht. Anstatt Snoop Dogg Dr. Dre, der ist dann da so irgendwie mit drin. Dann Timbaland Timbaland könnte man auch noch statt LL Cool J mit LL Cool J tauschen. Weil LL Cool J ist wichtig, aber nicht konsistent genug. Pharrell ist auf jeden Fall noch. Vielleicht könnte man auch ich selber eine 2 machen und dann wären in der vierten Reihe Ja Rule, Pharrell, Timbaland und 50 Cent. Und DMX und LL Cool J, weil sie vielleicht sehr spezifisch sind und nicht so universell wie die anderen beiden. Ja, genau, so mache ich es. Dann sind in der nächsten Reihe sind dann LL Cool J, DMX, Fat Joe. Früher hätte ich gesagt Rick Ross, aber Rick Ross und DJ Khaled sind jetzt wie Eminem und Dr. Dre raus. Ähm, naja, jetzt wird es halt dann so Leute, die man halt reintun muss, vielleicht. Eazy-E oder so. Das ist dann auch Geschmackssache. Aber Moment, diese Reihe will ich noch fertig machen, und zwar nach meinem Geschmack. Deswegen, ja genau, Havoc auf jeden Fall und Prodigy. Das heißt LL Cool J, DMX, Fat Joe, Have und P. Und dann, oder vielleicht statt Prodigy, weil man ihn nur als Rapper mehr kennt, Master P vielleicht. Master P muss eigentlich auch noch irgendwo rein, oben. Obwohl ich das nicht so feiere alles, aber Master P ist wichtig. Weil Master P hat nachdem der Beef zu Ende ging, diese Dirk Legacy weitergeführt. Neben Ja Rule. Ja Rule hat so ein bisschen versucht, so auszusehen wie Tupac und Master P hat so ein bisschen die Mentalität so weitergeführt. Auch wenn es jetzt nicht so mein Geschmack ist, aber das war schon krass. Ja, und dann muss halt noch natürlich, dann sind Outkast noch da. Vielleicht sollte man die Crews als einen nehmen. Dann ist es Mobb Deep und Master P. Und dann kommen Outkast, UGK, der Wu-Tang Clan. Funkmaster Flex. Drake. Wo mir das auch zu poppig ist. Anstatt Drake Lunis vielleicht. Jaheim. Jaheim ist der erste Sänger. Und dann kommen auch langsam Deutsche mit rein. Ja. Und so weiter. Und dann auf Platz 26 bin ich. Und ich würde gern wissen, auf wen ich da gucke. Das im Kopf ausrechnen würde mein Gehirn sprengen an mathematischen Fähigkeiten. Weiß ich nicht. When he reached the land of trees and rocks, he had to slow, placing his shoes, placing his hose, placing his shoes carefully so he would not slip on the rocks and maybe break a leg. At the base of the cliff, he hurried along, seeking an easy way to the top, and found a crack in the cliff that went in 3 feet and rose straight to the top and climbed. Ja, noch zu der anderen mit Dre und Eminem. Da würde dann. Ja, das ist halt dieser Unterschied. Die meisten sagen Eminem, ich sag Benzino. Und so kann man dann unterscheiden zwischen den zwei. Aber es ist doch egal. Near the top, jutting stones that he used for handfolds were wide apart. And he had to claw and boost himself. Ich weiß aber auf jeden Fall, auf wen ich gucke. Und das ist J.O. Felony. Ich weiß nicht, welche Nummer der ist, aber ich schaue auf ihn. But then the climbing got better again, until shortly he was out of the crack onto level stone. Und ich weiß, wer auf mich guckt. Das ist fucking Flowing as Day. The yapping from the dogs echoed loudly on top. He crouched to see if the helicopter was nearby. It was not. He could not even hear it. And there was no sign of anybody watching him from a neighboring height or from below. He slipped into bushes and trees near the cliff edge and crept swiftly to his right toward an outcrop with a long view of the draw. And there he lay, watching the alternate strips of grass and woods. A mile down the draw, he saw that men were racing from trees across a wide clear space toward more trees. In the distance, the men were small and hard to distinguish. He counted what he thought were 10. He could not make out the dogs at all, but they sounded like quite a lot. It wasn't the number that bothered him, though. It wasn't the number that bothered them, though. What did was that they had obviously found his scent. Oh. And were tracking him fast. 15 minutes and they would be where he was now. Teasel should not have been able to catch up to him this fast. Teasel should have been hours behind. There had to be somebody, maybe Teasel, maybe one of his men, who knew the country and knew from his general direction the shortcuts to head him off. He ran back to the niche up through the cliff. There was no way Teasel was going to have the easy climb he himself had. He set his rifle on a grassy mound where no dirt would get into it and began pushing at a boulder that was near the cliff. The boulder was large and heavy, but once he had it rolling somewhat, the shift of its weight helped him to push. Oha, jetzt will sich bemerkbar, glaube ich, machen. Er kann nicht mehr wegrennen. Soon he had it where he wanted, completely blocking off the top of the crack, one side extending over the cliff edge. A man coming at the boulder from below would not be able to get around or over it. Also stellt sich jetzt. He would have to shove it out of the way before he could get on top, but braced from below he would not have the leverage to move it. He would need several men helping him, but the crack was too narrow for several men to fit at once. Teasel would be a while figuring out how to clear the boulder away. Yeah, but then he himself would be long gone. Ach nee, versucht den Weg zu versperren. He hoped. Glancing down at the draw, he was amazed that while he positioned the boulder, the posse had been traveling so fast that they were already at the pool and bushes where he had hidden. The man also ich glaube, es ist jetzt so, dass er oben irgendwo ist und guckt nach unten und es gibt nur einen Weg dahin, wo er ist und den will er versperren. The man in miniature down there stopped looking at the bushes to watch the dog sniffing the ground, barking in circles. Something must have confused them. The wounded deer, he realized. When he had dove into the bushes, some of the deer's blood had smeared onto him. And now the dogs were trying to decide which track to follow, his or the deer's. They chose damn fast. The second they sprang, yelping on his path toward the cliff, he turned and grabbed his rifle and ran through more bushes and trees inland. Ach so, den Weg hat er schon versperrt. Okay. Where the undergrowth was very thick, he swung and pushed through backward. And then ran forward again until once more he had to push through backward. His effort shoving the boulder over to the niche in the cliff had lathered his face and chest with sweat that stung and bit. And now more sweat poured out as he struggled through a wall of nettles, scraping his knuckles raw, filling them with blood. Then in a second he was free. He came breaking out of the dogwood into the bright sunlight on a slope of rock and shale, and paused quickly to catch his breath. He slid cautiously down to the edge. There was a cliff and a wide forest at the bottom, leaves red and orange and brown. The cliff was too sheer from him to climb down. So now there was a cliff before him and behind him, which meant he could go only two other routes. If he went to the east, he would be moving back toward the wide end of the draw. But Teasel likely had groups searching the highlands and both sides of the draw, and course he doubled back. That gave him just one other course to the west, in the direction the helicopter had taken, and he ran that way until he came upon another drop and found that he had trapped himself. Jesus, the dogs were barking louder, and he clenched his rifle, cursing himself for having ignored one of the most basic rules he had ever learned. Always choose a route that won't trap you. Never run where you might cut yourself off. Christ, had his mind gone soft along with his body from lying in all those hospital beds? He should never have climbed up that cliff back there. He deserved to be caught. He deserved the shit that Teasel would do to him if he let himself be caught. The dogs were barking even closer, sweat smarting his face. He touched a hand to it and felt the sharp, rough stubble of his beard, and brought down the hand sticky with blood from where the bushes and nettles had slashed and ripped him. The blood made him furious with himself. He had thought that running away from Teasel would be very simple and routine, that after what he had been through in the war he could handle anything. Now he was telling himself to think again. The way he had been shaken from the helicopter should have warned him. He knew, but still he had been so confident he could outrun Teasel that he had gone and cornered himself, and now he would be damn lucky to get out of this with just the blood that was already on him. There was only one thing yet that he could do. He rushed along the top of the cliff, staring down, checking the height, stopping where the cliff seemed lowest. 200 feet. All right, he told himself. It's your goddamn mistake. You pay for it. Let's just see how tight your ass end really is. He slipped the rifle snugly between his belt and his pants, shifting it around so it went straight down his side. The butt near his armpit, the barrel by his knee. Certain that it would not work loose and fall to smash on the rocks far below, he lay flat on his stomach, eased himself over the edge, and hung by his hands, his feet dangling. Toe holds. He could not find any toe holds. The dogs began yelping hysterically, as if they had reached a blocked-off niche in the cliff.